The more I think about the decline around all of us, especially in the West, the more I think we need it. We definitely deserve it, but I think we really need it. Why? It's because we celebrate stupidity. I mean, stupidity, I think, became the world's currency right now. The more stupid something is, the more crazy, noisy, ridiculous, the more people will watch it and they will just reward the whole stupidity behind it. You see, the attention in today's world is more important than just the money, right? It translates to money, but attention, grabbing attention in the world where the attention span is like 10 seconds, it's very hard. And how do you do it nowadays? You don't do it through one of those. You see, I choose this background on purpose. Books, you don't do it anymore. People don't read books. People can't read, younger generation, which is absolutely scary. But to grab an attention, you have to do something really, really stupid, especially with the younger generation, with the people who have no interest in anything. You see videos on the internet, absolute garbage. Just yesterday I saw this video. People my age would probably remember, I grew up listening hip-hop, which was a very damaging, I think, for our generation. And I was watching things on the internet, and there was this video pop out of this guy called Exhibit, very famous rapper from America back in the day. And he had this gig in Russia, in Moscow, full of people doing his thing, bit oldish, right? And he just took out of nowhere a 1 liter vodka bottle, a huge bottle, opened it and just started drinking like it's a water or Coke, Coca-Cola, that Coke. And he just thought it's fine. And the people were just, whoa, whoa. And I'm just looking at this, like, how much lower can we actually go? And it was all fine. Like, I can't imagine, like, if I was organizing this thing, like, I would absolutely shut it all down. Of course, I wouldn't. It would be end of me. I wouldn't be able to get that far in the business of parties, right? But it was unacceptable for me to see it. But yet come up, and it was just like, people were just laughing about this. We used to admire people who knew, people who read many books, people who were educated, properly educated. Now we have people who brag about not knowing. The less you know, apparently it's better. If you think about the ignorance being a bliss, it gives you a hint of why it is the way it is. And you know, the way we built our world around us, it was meant to be prosperous. It was meant to be comfortable for all of us. And when you think too much, when you see too much, when you have too much knowledge and you actually have options and decisions to make, that comfort disappears. You have an anxiety and discomfort. So people all, gradually over the last, I would say, a century, decided to do more comfortable things, get more numb by choosing stupidity over truth, over facts, over education. And I don't mean, I guess, school education nowadays. I mean like real knowledge. It all, I think, started with the media, whatever, 90s, whatever, 60s or something, right? It was different, of course, but it was slowly progressing towards this more fun and entertainment. And entertainment was always around, right? Even like centuries ago, ancient Greeks, or Romans, or even Japan, different cultures have different types of entertainment, and sometimes very silly. But back then it was a part of just entertainment. It was part of a theater, a part of the play. It was not real. It was not cheer. Like, people were, clowns in the theaters. They were all kind of like silly people. They were not taken seriously. And definitely they were not most successful, right? Or most looked upon to. And with more technology introduced into our lives, as we built ourselves because of our knowledge, we actually became more stupid. That's a paradox almost. Like, the more we wanted to know about things, the less we actually understood and knew. So we replaced the actual knowledge and experience with feelings. Now, you see, we used to admire people with great knowledge, great professors, inventors, great business people from the past. Now you have people who are coming up into the media and they're telling you about their feelings, and that feeling becomes a kind of fact. We've replaced the actual critical thinking and bringing up a reasoning behind with how feels make you feel right now, how it makes you react. And the more people feel the same way, the more likely it's true. You see, all the big innovations in the past were always some great mind were thinking against others and can't be brave enough to bring up with this idea and then they prove it. Now you can't do it because it's not good to speak about these things. If you have too much knowledge, if you know too much or question too much, and knowledge comes from questioning, right? You are being seen as a threat, as a danger for all the people who want to have a comfortable life. You're the one who's questioning a status quo. You're the one who's saying, hey, I'm not like you. And you're being immediately put into the position where you're trying to be somebody better than others, just because you ask questions. Remember, over the last pandemic, we were told to trust the science. I think that was where we lost it completely, when people supposedly in science were telling us to trust it, because I can trust it's going to be a good day today, but is it going to be or not, I don't know. Science is not about trusting, it's about proving it. It either works or it doesn't. And the more people say, I don't know, I don't understand, the more it should be proved it works or it doesn't. There's nothing about trusting. But it became mainstream knowledge, it became mainstream, not only narrative, but it became mainstream truth. You have to trust the science. If you don't trust the science, you're the enemy. You see, the generations of tech involved, and expansion and involved into grabbing our attention got to the point where now algorithms reward stupidity more than anything. Back in the day, you would have to record or produce a great movie to get lots of money and attention, right? You would have a blockbusters movies, best movies ever, bringing millions of dollars of profits, but also bringing millions of people to the cinemas and to watch them. You don't need to do it anymore now. You just have to come up with a very, very stupid idea, get somebody to record it and post it on the internet, and it's going to get more traction than those movies back in the day. There is no plot twist needed. There is no script needed. There is no thinking needed. The less you think, the more stupid it is, the more successful it has a chance to become. I think the perfect example is TikTok, which scares me. I've been a few times, I tried, but I just can't. I can't get past that moment where you have to build your kind of audience or videos we want to see, because at the beginning TikTok is going to bombard you with all the most popular materials, and they're just absolutely unwatchable for me. I can't get through these things, and I don't think you can turn off the voice in TikTok, which is even more horrifying. A couple of days ago, last past weekend, I watched a movie called Dumb and Dumber. Do you remember this movie with Jim Carrey and the other guy? So I can't remember his name. It was funny, kids loved it, but I remember watching it as a kid. It was incredibly dumb, right? It was funny, but it was so dumb. Now, I watched this movie, it was still funny, but it was also scary because it's not so dumb anymore. You see the same people doing the same things out there everywhere. You go to any big city, particularly London, or the European capitals, you will see the same thing that people doing, and it's not movie. They don't do that because it's scripted. They don't do it because to make you laugh. They do it because it's actual what they want. It's actually what they believe in, and they have people cheering it, not laughing at it. Hey, they're loving it. I remember when I was younger, first time when the Big Brother was aired in Poland. I think that was the time when it broke all taboos in TV. That was the time when it's actually we jumped from the cliff. There were programs before which were like really stupid, but there was still some sort of, I think, expectations into what TV really is or should be. But the realities, the reality shows like Big Brother. That was it. There was no more breaks, and it was so dumb. You had these people locked in the building, doing amazingly stupid things. The more stupid, the more people would talk about this. I remember going next day to school, and everybody would talk about this. And then that was the final moment was there was somebody had sex on camera. I mean, they did some censoring or whatever, but that was like first time real thing happened, and everybody was talking about it, and that person became very famous. I still remember her name. It's crazy. They became famous, and they had interviews and gigs. They started singing music, it was like all kinds of things. They were putting them everywhere. You would open the fridge and they were there. And it was incredibly stupid. And this was, I think, a breaking point for when the technology became extremely stupid, where the actual stupidity became a currency. And then, of course, the final nail in the coffin was introduction of social media and the algorithms. Although I have to say the YouTube's algorithm is still, I think it's still, we have to, if you're watching it, I hope it's not as stupid what I'm saying. So that there is a still chance of having to be able to see videos and materials which are not that stupid, but it's very hard to get through, and you have to spend some time in discovering these kind of materials. And people like myself, you're gonna like, by the way, if you click like now, if you leave me a comment, then you will have probably more videos of similar videos like this, not only mine. And thank you. You will have something to watch, but it takes time and effort. Most people don't want to do it. They just want to put on TV or YouTube, and they just want to watch whatever there is. I remember when I came to England, I really believed that success will come from experience, knowledge, hard work. How wrong I was. When I worked in a couple of big organizations, one corporation, that was the time when I realized none of it matters anymore. It's all about just be stupid. Just don't do anything. Don't think. Just say yes and follow the order. And the less you think, the less correct you are, the better. Okay, you just have to repeat what we just said, and just be loyal. And when you say we'll look other way, you do that, and then you can become successful. And everybody, I'm sure you can relate to it. The managers, directors, people in power, often politicians. I've had contact with many people high up in different companies, and some politicians, low-level politicians, and many of them are not very smart, but they have all the power, right? So, you see, we got to the point where looking at stupidity makes us comfortable. It removes this part of us saying, what if? Like, there is no what if, because your brain immediately gives you this dopamine hit. It's like stupidity, it became like a fast food for your brain, right? It's very addictive. It might taste good at the beginning, it's easygoing, and it's very damaging long term. It's basically killing your brain, killing your ability to think, critical think, to see a difference between something being right or wrong. And comfort, what is important, kills curiosity. And curiosity, you see, is the foundation of intelligence. And there are many types of intelligence. We are not nowadays not allowed to talk about it openly about intelligence because it's offensive, or can be. But I do believe that everybody has different type of intelligence in it. Everybody has got some super intelligence in it. And I'm talking about holistically. I'm talking about like you, me, like we are really good at something. And we like to think that the intelligence is all about just, I don't know, math or physics, right? It's like, no, there's many, many different types of intelligence. And every person has got different types of intelligence within them. And if we only be able to, if we would not be fed constantly by this stupidity, and if we would be allowed to actually grow the part of our intelligence within us, we would become more, not only intelligent, more like, there would be no decline, this ridiculous decline, because you see, the current decline is not something which shocks where it came from. The shocking part for me personally, and I think many of you would probably agree, is how stupid that decline is, how visible it is, how can we carry on like this? like the good example with TikTok, right? Is that, like, we know TikTok is absolutely destroying young people's brains, yet we do allow it to be there. And what's worse, we know that there is a part of TikTok in China which owns it, which built it, and apparently in Chinese TikTok, what kids see it is completely different. They see a math, equations like physics, all these important things. I don't know, movies. Like they see completely different type of TikTok. Like we literally being dumb on reason, and we are so dumb that we are not even able to accept, see it, and do something about this. Right? And I'm talking about like you and me. We said, but the people in power, people with all of us, because it's us, it's our generations, it's our kids, it's future of our kids. No, we still allowing these things to happen for whatever the reason. It's very dumb. I'm sorry, this is so stupid. It's not very intelligent, is it? If you know openly that part of software is destroying our youth way of reasoning and thinking, which will have incredible consequences for everyone's life, and yet we're still doing it, that's already very stupid. And yet we also know that the people behind it doing it on purpose, because they not do it in their part of the world for their youth. Right? That's what I'm saying. That decline, it's not some hidden thing. We don't have to go, like people often say, with these conspiracy theories and there is this people behind this plotting. We don't need that. You can literally drop it all on people now and people will just accept it or get on with it, because we're too dumb. We can't reason. We can't differentiate, see differences between what's damaging or what's not. And if we do, we're still choosing the damaging part, right? Damaging part. It's like, I remember I used to go to a cancer centers in England as a courier, and part of my business to see a client, because we would transport transfusion and bloods and chemotherapy components, right? The medications or whatever they're called. And I remember there was this, like once every year or something, there's a cancer day, right, in the UK. And you walk into this cancer centers. I walked into one of those cancer days, and what I saw is this lovely lady with this table in front of her, and it was full of sweets. And it was this very sweety sweets, like, it's like not like some homemade, home cooked, whatever, baked cake. It was the ones you buy in the supermarket, like with that much sugar on top, the lemon cake with sugar on top, sugar inside, dipped in the sugar, and it just basically tastes like sugar, nothing else, right? And full of it. And there were some muffins with this, and it's like, and it was all to celebrate this cancer day for patients. And I'd look at this, and it's like, come on, we know sugar has got a lot to do with cancers and the way we eat, of course, as well, but sugar particularly. Why do we bring this stuff, this garbage food, to places to people who are actually fighting for life, this horrible illness, and we feed them something which we know is absolutely not good for them? It's very dumb. Okay, you don't have to be a specialist, medical professional, or I don't know about diet a lot, to understand that if we would feed people carrots, I don't know, veg, maybe some protein, maybe even doesn't have to be meat, I don't know, like anything would be probably beneficial, more beneficial rather than giving them another sugary cake. But that's one of the many reasons. You see this, and the decline we see around us is the consequence of it. All these things, the uncontrolled immigration, right? We people talking about this is the reason why it was declined. No, it's a symptom. The inflation, it's a symptom. Everything is a symptom of us welcoming stupidity in our lives, and at some point letting it take over and becoming a currency of everything around us. It's almost like there's this amazingly complex experiment going on in a part of the world which unfortunately we are under, and we are part of this experiment. We are just these mice running around and just, hey, let's inject a bit more stupidity, see what happens. And we just like losing, hey, nothing can look, they're just getting on with it again, more, and it's like, it cannot end any other way than decline. It literally cannot end, because if you are one of the people, one of the few who come up and say, hey guys, I think we're doing it wrong, and it doesn't matter what party it was now, is now or was before. It doesn't matter if it's a Labour, Conservative, Democrats or Republicans or whatever. This is just stupid. Can we agree? You're going to have a bunch of people calling you names, calling you really bad names, coming after you. They will do, you're going to have newspapers, media coming after people, bringing up false information. We know it. We've had articles about different people, different types of people with different claims over the last years with different problems we've had. And they would go after them mercifully, and they would just smear them. I would come up with all the stupid reasons for why they are not right. And then they will be destroyed. And then years later, they will be vindicated, kind of. They'll be like, hey, actually, they were right. But we all forgot. We already moved on. So we can't, there's no other way. And the big experiment we're seeing in our reality, in us, it will affect us big time, of course. But the question we would be worth to ask is like, why and who? I sometimes think it has been that stupidity was weaponized at some point. Ignorance was weaponized by our adversaries. So if you look at who's doing better than us, that sometimes gives me an answer. I don't want to say it here, but I don't know if it's correct or not, I don't know. But there are places around the world where this is not happening, when it's actually opposite happening. And right now, we're seeing a shift from what we achieved here, move over there. And instead, we're being given ignorance and stupidity to feed ourselves a little bit so we don't get too much distracted. And God forbid, start thinking about it a little bit too much, right? You see, the last part of it, which you can see, is the collapse of everything is the direct result of being stupid. The infrastructure we see, right? The immigration, like I said, the system collapsing, the NHS, the healthcare systems in other countries, a police, full army, like that is so stupid. Like, how could we not understand that there will be wars coming at some point in the future? No, the European leaders, countries decided this is it. There's no more history ever. Let's disarm ourselves. Let's have just a couple of soldiers here and there, and we're just gonna get along together nicely. That is stupid. Like if you know anything about the world history, you know it's stupid assumption. Like eventually it's gonna happen, of course, and it happens now, right? And we're like, oh my god, who saw this coming? Like everybody who is not stupid. And the infrastructure, like, people are afraid of losing jobs to AI. I think we actually should be afraid of losing jobs because we have not enough people being able to do them. Like car mechanics, builders, and I'm talking about the simple one, like, buildings from the past we used to build here in Europe or in the West. We are not able to do it. Look at cars and vehicles. They look shit nowadays. I'm sorry, you might like it. I mean, some of them are okay, but it's like if you compare the way they looked back in the day, the quality of vehicle, of cars, of motorbikes, quality of buildings, quality of halls in city halls, cathedrals. We were able to. Now we are not able to do it. Okay, it's going to be. It will be too expensive. Although we have so much tech, we would not able to do it. You can get the blueprint from ChatGPT or whatever, but you're not going to be able because you don't have skilled enough people to actually do it. I remember reading a book about this. I think one of the most famous cathedral in England being built over the few decades. It was in medieval times. Quite interesting book. I can't remember the title, but it was a nice book. It was throughout the history, all these medieval times happening around, and there was this cathedral being built. And it was, it was amazing for me to see how much craftsman work, is that the word? How much skill was put into this building, like how much these supposedly not so much sophisticated people compared to us were able to actually go out there and take stone, get this stone in the perfect shape, calculate all these numbers, angles, everything, and build this amazing building which stands there for hundreds of years with their own hands and simple tools. We can't do it now with all this amazing tech. Why? Because we're stupid. Because we forgot. Because we allowed ourselves to be comfortable and to get ignorant about everything. And if anyone, God forbid, comes up with a different point of view, you, me, and you watching this, you probably are enemy. Therefore, you should be removed, silenced, or maybe just ridiculed, saying, don't listen to this one. So you see, the decline is a natural path of what we choose ourselves, or what we allowed ourselves to be drawn into. The good news is there good news? The good news is, I think the intelligence will be still around us. We will be able to find it, but we're going to have to rebuild it. See, these books around here, like I go to many houses to see friends or whatever, and not very often nowadays, I see books. Well, I'm sitting in my living room, and I have no TV here. We have only one very old TV for computer games for kids, and maybe watch movies sometimes, but we don't do the cable for many years. But in our living room, our central thing is the books. It's a bookshelf. I choose all these books myself, and they are books very hard to read for me sometimes, like Shakespeare. It's very hard for me to read in my non-native English. I hate it, but I sometimes read it just for the exercise of my brain. But there are other books. You can read a Peloponnesian War by Thucydides, whatever, very nice book, important. And you would know that all what we're going through already happened back in the past, many times over. All these wars, all these conflicts, never going to happen again, and then boom, happened. That's happened back in the day in the past, where people were stupid as well. Now I go to see a friend, they have no books. They don't read the books. Now I want to cultivate this. I want my kids to read, and they do read the books, which I'm very happy about. But you see, my point is, this is a intelligence here. Everything we see now happened one way or another in the past. So the good news is, if we keep teaching our kids to read and critical thinking and be skeptical about things, I think we can preserve intelligence in ourselves. It's not going to be easy because, or maybe it will, I think, because I would say it wasn't be easy because of the amount of the pressure from around and the amount of people, and like how democracy doesn't work in today's world. But because of the decline, I think, it's just cycle. Once we get out of this decline on the other end, whichever end, however it's going to look like, and whenever it's going to happen, I would say probably 3 years at least, there will be a room for rebuilding for some. Not everyone. You can't save everyone, of course. People will be ignorant. But I think if you have books at home, that is your intelligence preserved, right? That you can't change that book. There are books being changed on the internet or something, or articles removed and stuff. But these things are here. This is timeless knowledge and intelligence, and there are different types of intelligence. There are art, stories, fiction, non-fiction. All of this is important. And if you don't have the books, think about maybe getting some. They're extremely cheap nowadays. You can get real, masterpiece of books and literally non-fiction for very few little money, a few pounds, and you can preserve it, and even for yourself, for the future generations. I think especially now with closing libraries and all of that, I think it would be probably a good idea. That's what I did over the last few years. Been collecting books, the important ones, the ones I want my kids to have around them. Maybe they're never going to read it, but maybe they're just going to pick it up and have. I haven't read all of them. I read most of them, but not all. So I think I'll leave you with this. These are my observations and my findings, that the decline is well-deserved and needed. It will purify stupidity. Unfortunately, it's going to be painful, and not everybody's ready for what's coming, because we're not smart enough to even be able to explain it to ourselves, or our leaders are not good enough to explain or prepare for us for everything. But that is my message. The last thing I can say is stay positive, as always. I always keep saying this. There's good things ahead at some point eventually. We just need to go through a little bit darkness, a little bit dark ages. But at the other end, dark ages ended up with this eruption of knowledge and intelligence, and I think it's going to happen at some point with us as well. If you like this video, please leave me a like. If you want to be part of my community, please do join. I have a community for like-minded people, for people like us, who are able to talk about these things, or just get closer. Maybe we can meet sometimes. I have events in London where I actually meet a few people. I actually met a few people from this channel in person. If you're not subscribing to my channel, please consider subscribing. Thank you very much for all your support, all the likes, all the comments. I appreciate it. I read all your comments. I reply to most of them, unless there's some stupid comments which I just try to ignore. For that very reason, I just explained this video. Apart from that, thank you everyone again. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.